So I'm not usually one to take home a shampooer, but this was a special exception to that. So back when he was still alive, there was a local shop manager named Dave, and Dave had like 40 years of experience in the vacuum industry, starting off as a Kirby salesman. Then, he managed the shop for years and years and years, so he really knew his way around things. And I remember him telling me that he became a royal dealer because of these machines. He really, really liked them, or at least really liked the way it worked. So I kind of wanted to get my hands on one, but it was kind of a rarity to see one pop up. And it's the same machine, as far as I know, as the Dirt Devil Platinum Force shampooer, and I do have the hose for it too. I just don't have it on there because I still haven't figured out exactly how it's supposed to sit on here, so it looks kind of untidy. But anyways, I finally found one. It was $30, so I took the trip to go get it. It was a little bit of a long trip, but somewhere in my old stomping grounds. So went and picked it up, and it sounded terrible. The suction motor in there sounded terrible, so it's like I ended up having to well, I'll show you guys a little clip of the these motors in here are actually not meant to be serviceable. They are like, it's almost like the plastic casing is welded together, because there is no way to take this. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. It's like, why would you build the motor into a plastic case like that and make it non-serviceable? Of course, I'm stubborn, and with the motors not being around and not wanting to spend $70 if I could find a new one anyways, I tore into that motor once I got that case apart. And it seems to be sealed up pretty well. It's surprising, though, how small in diameter that motor was. Because this has dual suction shoes on it, which I think is really interesting, but I'm kind of I'm a little wary of it because I don't know how well the pickup of it actually is. Because it's like we have one here and we have one here. And you can also see some more glue from a repair. There was a fair amount of cracked plastic in this machine. And it's like the front nozzle comes off, which you have to take that off to access the water tank, which is kind of dumb. And the water tank does not come apart. You empty it out by using this little plug over here. So you just pour it out like that. I don't like that too much, because it's like, I'd like to be able to open this thing up and clean it. And then our second nozzle is right here. It's actually built onto the tank. The belt layout, it uses a Dirt Devil 4.5 belt. I'm not too fond of that. These things were like $400 when they were new, so it's like, come on, really? You're just gonna put a cheap little stretch belt in there? And let's see here. Of course, having the tool door right here, and then we just have a little flap that closes off the... Yeah, you can kind of see it. Kinda. I couldn't really... Well, I shouldn't say I couldn't open this. I just didn't want to break the adhesive or whatever it was that was around here, so I spent time with like a little test tube brush trying to get some of the stuff out of there. And I mean, I got some of it, but obviously not all of it. Could have looked a little bit nicer. And then so, since it has a brush roll motor, you can shut the brush roll off. It also has a button for the soap dispenser too, because I'm sure you guys noticed it has a separate soap tank in it. So you can shut the soap off and just run plain water. That's kind of a nice little feature. This thing does have good features to it, but I'm just, I don't know. It's like having it open and actually working on it. I mean, it wasn't overall terrible. Everything's pretty accessible, except for that motor. And then, of course, with it being a bit on the older side, we have had some plastic breaking. And, oh, there it is. This is part of one of the screw wells back here. And it's like I hadn't noticed it, or perhaps it hadn't finished breaking until I went to screw this back in, and then this fell off. I tried reattaching it, but it's such a tight space without, you know, having to reopen everything and get back into there. So for now, I'm just kind of like, well, I'll live with it, because I don't want to have to open it back up. So I'm going to put some more water in here, and probably a little solution in this tank too, a little lint house solution. And yeah, we'll give it a little bit of a run. Alright, so I'm going to do a little bit of work with the main machine. I'll turn the soap on and off at some point. I'll try to indicate when I do that, but I can't make any promises. And I'll probably use the hand tool too, just so you guys can see that, although I'm sure that's really not a big deal to you guys. Oh well. Soap's on. Switch the soap off. Make a few dry passes. It feels damp, which I mean is to be expected. So I feel like the pickup's probably a little bit better than I suspected it would be. I was kind of concerned, you know, that with the two suction shoes, that it just might not have enough power to go between the two of them with such a small diameter motor. But it seems to do fine. I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure this is the same upholstery tool used on like the Dirt Devil Easy steamer. And we have our, oop, almost forgot to flip the little suction lever. the freshwater connections down on the side here. So we'll just go ahead and turn this on. Kind of a weird design to it. It's like textured. Having now experienced it for myself, I can say that I kind of like the features of it, you know, especially having the soap on and off switch. That's a nice little touch, but it's not that impressive. I know, you know, beyond Dave, there's been a few other collectors who have clearly been involved in the business, and they really like this machine too, but it just doesn't do it for me. It's like, I feel like it does leave the carpet wetter than like my steam vac does. And, you know, when I use my steam vac, I always shut the turbine off to go over the area as a dry run. And I mean, I think that tends to pull out a lot more moisture. This, I just kind of feel like it doesn't really have the power to do it. And I mean, the tool suction isn't quite as good, and I mean, that's partially because I know there's a little, I know there's a hole in the little, door down here. It must ensure that, you know, it can always get air through the motor or something like that. So, I mean, there's going to be a constant suction leak in there. Just thing is, I did vacuum beforehand too. But yeah, I don't normally go for shampooers, and this kind of reminds me as to why I don't do that. They tend to be just filthy. I mean, you get some pretty gross vacuums, but I mean, shampooers are almost always so much worse. They're just full of gunk and hair and whatever else. And since, you know, it's been wet, I mean, there's a good chance it's like caked on there, and it's just gross. But, you know, I suppose, you know, it's nice to finally get my hands on one and try one out, you know, see what Dave and some other people were talking about, but it's not really for me, you know. It's like, would I still use it occasionally? Sure. But I mean, I prefer the steam vac, the big green, or that mighty. So, when I've got those, I don't see this thing getting used a lot, especially with the kind of fragility it has.